Hey Capricorn, this is Michael with your January 2022 reading. You are welcome to watch this whether you are a Capricorn sun, moon, rising, or whatever. The rising sign will likely be the most pertinent to the astrology portion of this video, so I do recommend you watching the video for your rising sign as well as whatever else calls you intuitively. I do want to wish you a happy birthday for those of you who have a birthday this month, and I really specifically wanted to start with your sign because we are in your season, Capricorn, and we are actually starting off this month with a new moon on January 2nd, tomorrow, from when I'm recording this. And there really is this focus on you kind of committing to yourself. I actually have the cards already drawn here, and honestly, I'm not super surprised by what I'm seeing. I do have the Queen of Pentacles showing up in the past, and incidentally, this is your card. It does represent Earth sign energy, Virgo, Taurus, and especially Capricorn. So it's interesting that this is showing up for you first. And your ruling planet Saturn really isn't doing much this month, actually. It's just in the sign of Aquarius. It's not making any strong aspects that I'm aware of. I actually have the list of all the transits and aspects, which you can find in the in the description box down below. And there really isn't much that is happening with Saturn. And it feels kind of like a quieter season for you than usual. We have Mercury going retrograde in Aquarius, and it will be retrograding into your sign towards the end of this month. And we have Venus that is going to be retrograde in your sign until the 29th, and will continue to stay in your sign until March. So we have quite a bit of focus on you in the first part of this year. Plus we have the United States Pluto return, which is happening in your sign. So there's major changes that Capricorn is bringing to the table. And interestingly, the cards that come out for you, sort of the advice for this month and what you've already been learning about, what's kind of in your utility belt, is the Hermit and the Five of Swords. And it feels like taking time for yourself, not being super reactive, is really important. Emotions might feel pretty high. You actually have several water cards or cup cards on the table here, which tells me that there's a lot of emotions, there's a lot of healing potentially as well. But I do feel like you really need to take time for yourself this month to really get a sense of where you begin and another person ends. Or vice versa, where another person ends and where you begin. There's like this cross wire that I keep getting for you. And there really is this sense of like, you're actually quite intuitive this month with the Queen of Cups. And you started off with the Queen of Pentacles coming into the Queen of Cups now. It's almost like you've planted seeds and now you're watering them. You've done the physical work, the practical labor, the planning, and now it's kind of nurturing yourself and nurturing your plans, your creations. I do also get this thing that's potentially about healing. I do have the Queen of Cups as well as the Knight of Cups showing up as a change or challenge. And there could be some challenges for those of you who are in relationships on the full moon or around the full moon on January 17th. That's in Cancer, your opposite sign. It could also be kind of a make or break moment in relationships for you. There's like something that is being highlighted for you, a cycle that could be coming to an end and potentially a new beginning that is happening as well. Something is coming to culmination or to fruition. And I actually do get a sense of healing with a lot of these cards. I know with Mercury being retrograde and Venus already being retrograde, and especially both of these planets being in your sign, or in the case of Mercury joining your sign later this month, these retrogrades can bring back people from the past. It can make us think about old relationships or old connections. It doesn't necessarily have to be that you reconnect or reconcile with an ex or anything like that. It's possible, but I don't think that's how you have to heal. And in fact, for a lot of you, that's not necessarily what it's going to be at all. I do get the sense, though, if there is a water sign, a Cancer, Pisces, or Scorpio, you are going to be needing to heal something with them, and potentially with a Virgo as well. Or another earth sign. I do see this Three of Swords at the bottom of the deck. And it makes me feel like there's almost this sense of betrayal or like this feeling of hurt. And you're not really sure, like, I'm getting almost like a sense of confusion. Or maybe things feel really clear and it's actually like something isn't what it seems, if that makes any sense. Let me actually clarify here. Interesting. So we do have the Seven of Swords with the Queen of Wands. There could be a fire sign in this picture too, especially an Aries, could also be Leo or Sagittarius, or someone with those placements. And something might not be very obvious. Someone might not be very direct with you this month, or you're not being very direct with them. There could be some deception as well. I definitely could see that with the Three of Swords and the Seven of Swords. There could be some deception or betrayal, perhaps. You might be sensing that with all of these watery court cards here. Your intuition is very strong. But I feel like you really need to take time for yourself. It's not necessarily about reacting and catching someone in the act. It's like you might be sensing something and you're kind of piecing it apart and really looking at things. Let me actually pull an animal card for you here. I actually do have the elephant on the table. What's at the bottom of the deck, actually? We have dolphin. Interesting. Okay. That's very interesting. With dolphin, it does make me think of like that echolocation, that sonar that they have. And you are a very intuitive sign, Capricorn. Your mind, your third house is naturally ruled by Pisces. And with Neptune in Pisces, Jupiter is now in Pisces, your mind is very intuitive. And I actually think that Capricorn is one of the most psychic signs, actually. And I think of that as like being the mergoat. You go from the bottom of the ocean and climb to the top of the mountain. You see so much. You have so much perspective that other people don't have. And it does take time for people to see things the way you see them. And your mind is just naturally very future focused. You're able to see things before they come. And you might be picking up on patterns or things that other people aren't even clocking in themselves. That's actually something I could potentially see. But there is also the possibility that you are projecting something onto somebody else. And regardless, it's making you think about these things. It's making you be very introspective. And that's actually the advice for this month. With the Hermit card and with this Five of Swords. And if someone comes back from the past, someone who's trying to reconnect with you, you might not want to respond right away. You might want to think about it. You might really want to think about why you would want to reconnect with that person, what you're expecting to happen. And really checking that. Or maybe you're the one who wants to reach out to somebody else, and maybe you need to take some time before you really do that. I know people talk about with the retrogrades, Mercury and Venus in particular, like not making commitments with people, not getting into new relationships, because it is true that it can kind of put a blindfold over our eyes. We might not be seeing people super clearly, especially with Neptune currently direct. However, it could also be a good time to get closure and to say the things that need to be said. These retrogrades really are about reflection and completions, ending cycles, beginning new cycles, figuring out what works, reviewing things. It's not necessarily about moving forward as much as it is about tying up loose ends. So keeping that in mind. That might be something that comes up for you this month as well. I could actually kind of see that with these cards. But to be honest, I don't necessarily think all of the emotional resolution and healing is going to happen this month, especially with the King of Cups in the future. I think you need to come into the situation or into your life very composed, and that might take some time. And that could actually be kind of hard because we do have Mars entering into your sign on the 24th as well. So there may be this part of you that's getting really restless or anxious to say something or do something, or you just have a lot of passion, but you almost need to be in control of that with the elephant and with the Queen of Wands here. And when I look at this elephant, it actually does remind me a lot of the Hermit card. Finding that fire, finding that light in the lantern. There is this sense of you potentially being redirected. If it feels like one path is blocked off, it might not be meant for you. Meanwhile, there could be roads or pathways that are just suddenly opened or cleared for you. There could be some gear shifts or some change in plans, change in directions. And that's really, really important with the Mercury retrograde in particular, especially by the end of this month. It's like you want a straight path. And that might actually be something that's afforded to you. But my guess is that will only come after there's been some changes or adjustments that have been made. So that could be required of you. Those are all the messages I have for you this month. Capricorn, I do hope that this was helpful. Be sure to hit like and subscribe. Again, I have links for all of the horoscopes for 2022. I will be making those into shorts or reels and posting those in the coming weeks as well. So I hope you're looking forward to all of those. All of my blogs and all of my services are linked down below. I'm currently running my sale. Everything is 15% off with using the code NEWYEAR2022 until January 8th. So if you missed the holiday sale, it's a great time to book with me. And finally, if you do feel called to donate, I actually suggest donating to a friend who is working on an oracle deck. She's working on an Enneagram oracle deck. And for those of you who aren't aware, the Enneagram is just a really powerful self-growth tool. It can kind of figure out what your motivations are, what your basic drives are in life, and how to work with that, how you can grow into that. So really, really cool stuff. I actually used to be into Enneagram myself. You can find all of my links down below, and I will see you in the next video. Take care, Capricorn, and happy birthday.